Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to continue? Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
thank you, Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Mataji. So you are ready with the song now? Or you will sing
Yes,
it?
Prabhuji.
Okay. So you will sing in the next session. Now we will do Bhagavad Gita. Then in the Leelamrit, please sing that song. So we are all really eager to hear. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So let us take up Bhagavad Gita now. So where did we leave off last time? Hare Krishna.
We completed 4th chapter, Prabhuji. 5th we have to start.
Okay. So 3rd chapter was Karma Yoga. 4th chapter was Jnana Yoga. So shall we have a few exchanges about what is similar and what is dissimilar between the two yogas? Are they really different or are they really the same? What are the differences? Because they have two different names, there must be differences. So shall we apply our mind on this? You can start telling 1 point, 2 points each person. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. We have seen 3rd chapter, 4th chapter. What are the common features? What are the differences?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I try, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
Prabhuji, Karma Yoga is for satisfying our senses, having Krishna in the center. That is what I understand. And fruitive activities, it is something towards sense gratification and elevation, gradually elevating to the higher level of spiritual level.
Yeah, I agree with you, but there is a key component you have not mentioned. So without that key component, it is not Karma Yoga.
With the expectation of results, Guruji.
Yeah, but that is the material part of it. But there is a spiritual dimension. Where is the spiritual dimension in what you spoke?
She said Krishna in the center, Prabhuji, keeping Krishna in the center.
Okay, how do you keep Krishna in the center in your Karma Yoga?
We do all our prescribed duties, Prabhuji. Karma Yoga, basically, it's to do the prescribed duties according to your Varna and Ashrama.
So that is the key element, that there is a system called Varna Ashrama, which is meant to help the entire society progress from whichever guna they are in to a higher guna. You may be in Tamoguna, then you may progress towards better Tamoguna, because Tamoguna can also, range from minus something to, so you can be in Tamoguna, but you may become slowly refined in your Tamoguna, gradually elevate towards Rajogun. Or you may be in Rajogun, you may progress towards more refined Rajogun, or eventually towards Sattvagun. So whichever guna you are in, you are gradually moving forward by simply performing your Varnashrama duties. If you do it with a view of enjoying the fruits, right, then you are doing Sakama Karma Yoga, right? Sakama. Sakama means with desires. With desires. You are performing your duties. The duties come from the Varnashrama part. That is the spiritual dimension. Varnashrama. Actually, Varnashrama is not even considered a spiritual process. But as you said, with a view to satisfy Krishna. Swanishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshana. The purpose of performing varnashrama should be to satisfy Lord Hari. If that aim is not there, varnashrama is a complete waste. So it has to be connected to Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna, but at the same time, you are performing the duties for enjoying the fruits of your action. So what differentiates you from an animal-like human being is that you are accepting the Shastras. You are accepting the guidance of the Shastras. So you are accepting that I have to follow dharma. What dharma? Varnashrama dharma. I have to know what is my varna. I have to know what is my ashrama with the help of my guru. And then what is permitted, I should do. What is not permitted, I should not do. And whatever I desire, I should try to achieve it through the varnashrama process only. Dharmartha kama moksha. So dharma artha, through that I should achieve my kama. So that way you differ from an animal-like human being for whom no rules exist. The only rules are the government-made rules. Government, we have a constitution, we have a civil law, we have a criminal law. I am following, I am a law-abiding citizen, but I don't believe in God. I don't believe in varnashrama. Then who am I? I am a strictly law-abiding citizen. I pay my taxes. I don't cheat. I follow the law of the land, constitution, whatever is provided, I strictly follow that. Who am I? Any views? Animal. That's all. A refined two-legged animal. Simply by following the law of the land, I don't become human. When I accept my varnashrama duties and I perform them, and I don't deviate from what is permitted and what is prohibited, if I don't deviate, then I come to the level of a human being. So it is varnashrama that brings us to the level of being a human being. Otherwise, we are two-legged animal. There are four-legged animals, we are two-legged animals. Ahar, nidra, bhayamaitanancha, samanimaitat pasubirnaranam. It's common, eating, sleeping, waiting, defending. We are doing the same thing in a more refined way. So we are at best a refined animal, nothing more than that. We are a more sophisticated animal, nothing better than that. So it is varnashrama that brings you to the platform of a real human. So real human means accepting the law of God. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. The dharma means what is given by God, that is dharma, not what is given by your government, not what is given by your elected representatives, the so-called, the legislators. No. That is there only to give some sense of law and order in the society, some order for sense gratification. Prabhupada would say sometimes, even the thieves, they go for stealing. So they do burglary, they do murders, they collect wealth from various people, and they all come together in one place. And you know what they do? Now we will share the booty, and we will share it in a very ethical, very moral way. How? We will equally share everything. Not one penny more, one penny less. Everyone will share equally. That is our dharma. That is our dharma. Dharma of the robber. No, we have taken God's property and we say, this is India. I am Indian, so this belongs to me. And you are an American. You need my permission to come here. You need my permission to stay here. You need my permission to utilize the facilities here. This land belongs to me. Who said this land belongs to you? Everything belongs to Krishna. So that's the message Prabhupada always gives. Ishavashyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam chalam. So you should always have the consciousness that everything belongs to God. And that only makes you human. To accept that everything belongs to God. That is what makes you actually human. So, okay. So, very nice, Mataji. You made a point. Karma Yoga means, Sakama Karma Yoga, Mataji was explaining that I have my material desires. I am not free from my material desires. I am very much identified with my body, but still I accept the principle of varnashrama I accept that I belong to a certain varna, certain ashrama, and what is allowed and what is not allowed, I strictly follow that, and I do my activities with a view to enjoy the fruits in a dharmic way, not in an adharmic way, and the dharma being varnashrama dharma. There is no other dharma, varnashrama. So that is Sakama Karma Yoga. Okay. So would anyone like to say something about, you can add to this, or you can say something about Nishkamya Karma, Jnana Yoga, like that. You can add points.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can we say that in both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, they followed certain prescribed set of rules and regulations set by the Shastras or the scriptures? So could that be a common?
Definitely. So it is not mental concoction. Whether it is Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga, it is not mental concoction. It is always based on Shastras. Today, mental concoction is also sold in the name of Jnana, but it's not right. Jnana means what is there in the scripture. What is that? Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra. That is what Vedavyasa has given. And then other bhashyas, commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra, which is given by various acharyas. So that becomes the basis for your agitation, mental agitation. You agitate your mind on this basis. Not that I am going to invent something or somebody has invented something. I am very much, it appeals to me. I would like to follow what this man is speaking. This man speaks very nicely. He's so animatedly he speaks. He has such a command on English. He uses such amazing jokes he gives. Very original jokes. I never heard these jokes before. Some people repeat the same jokes I have heard before. They don't appeal to me, but this man is giving very original jokes. So it's not like that. It is not like that I choose to follow something on my whim. But it is all scripture-based. So when we define Jnana Yoga, when we define Sakama, when we define Nishkamya Karma, everything is Shastric. So that's a very good point Mataji made. So we have to realize that. If someone is following a concocted philosophy, someone is doing mental speculation without the support of the scripture and Acharya, then they don't belong to any of these categories. So Jnana Yoga also follows the scripture and their basis is Vedanta Sutra, right? Vedanta Sutra. That is given by, or it's also called Brahma Sutra. Both are the same. Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra, given by Vedavyasa. That is the basis of Jnana Yoga also. Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Anything else? So Mataji has given a common feature between Karma Yoga and Jnana. Anything else? Please feel free, unless we exchange, even I may not be perfect. So, but when we exchange, then we really come to know. You apply your mind, having to say something, you will think. Otherwise, it's the next stage of going higher in our understanding. So please speak whatever you think. Yes.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Meenakshi Shankar Madani, Kali Kumar Ghosh. Yes, Prabhu. Any one of you. Meenakshi Shankar Madani can speak. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. In Nishkama Karma Yoga, usually the karma is done without any expectations of the fruit of it, isn't it, Prabhuji?
Yes. But what karma is done?
Karma according to the Varnashrama Dharma only, Prabhuji.
Yes. Yes. When we say Varnashrama Dharma, why do we keep on saying Varnashrama, Varnashrama? What is the importance of Varnashrama?
It is a way of life, Prabhuji.
How this way of life is designed?
Because Krishna says it is based on guna and karma. So we shouldn't think that since I am born in a Brahmin family, I am a Brahmin.
Yes.
It is not like that, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
You can't take it for granted.
Yeah. At the same time, let us also understand that traditionally, when Varnashrama was strictly practiced, automatically the son of a Brahmana was a Brahmana. Rare exceptions. We see. In the scriptures also, we see the rare exceptions. When we see the rare exception, they are no longer called a Brahmana. A Brahmana's son, but he deviates from the norms of a Brahminical life. He is no longer called Brahmana. He has a different name. Does anybody know what is that name?
Brahmana Bandhu.
Brahma Bandhu. He is no longer Brahmana, Brahma Bandhu. And tell me, what are the rights and duties of a Brahma Bandhu? What are the privileges of a Brahma Bandhu? Anyone? Yeah, see, he is treated like a stray animal, like see,
Prabhuji, can we give the example of Ashwatthama?
Ashwatthama was a Brahma Bandhu. Ashwatthama was a Brahma Bandhu. And actually, most of the Vaishnavas, who are really Brahmin, they will call themselves Brahma Bandhu. Can you say why?
Just because they relate themselves to the Brahman. The father, like, a son may say that I am a Brahmana or Brahma Bandhu because my father is a Brahmana. He does all Vedic rituals and all, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So he just himself, without the qualifications, he considers himself as a Brahmana and Brahma Bandhu.
A true Brahmana will call himself a Brahma Bandhu because out of humility. Because one of the qualities of a Brahmana is humility. So he will not claim the privileges of a Brahmana. He will say, I am a Brahma Bandhu. So, but we should know who is a Brahmana, who is not a Brahmana. But a true Brahmana will call himself Brahma Bandhu. But the society, when you see a Brahma Bandhu who has deviated from the norms, you treat him like a stray animal. If you go to a holy place, you will see so many stray cows and bulls walking. Nobody disturbs them, nobody harms them, nobody beats them. They go around grazing. They are not given any respect, but they are not disturbed. So a Brahma Bandhu is treated like that. They don't get the respect of a Brahmana. They don't get to perform the duties of a Brahmana. They are, you don't invite them on the level equal to a Brahmana. But same time, they have some privileges. What are the privileges? They cannot be killed at any cost. If you kill a Brahma Bandhu, you will still incur Brahmahati dosha. So then nobody harms them. But people know and they discard them as a reject from the society. So there is a Brahma Bandhu. That means a Brahma Bandhu is inferior to a Shudra also. Taking birth in a Brahmin family is inferior to a Shudra if he doesn't follow his dharma. Same goes for Kshatriya. Same goes for Vaishya. Become a Kshatra Bandhu. You become a Vaishya Bandhu. You have deviated from your norms. You don't deserve to be called a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Brahman. So that is the fate of a Brahmin who deviates. Okay, it's called Brahma Bandhu. So this is the principle of Varnashrama where, as Mataji correctly said, Guna Karma, based on one's quality, out of the three gunas, where are you situated? If you are situated in Sattva Gun, you are called a Brahman. But at the same time, a Brahmana's son is also a Brahman. How? Because of generations, the DNA, the very blood, the DNA carries those qualities. Only such a soul will take birth in that family. They strictly follow the samskaras prescribed for a Brahman. Strictly they follow. They strictly live life by the principles laid down for a Brahman. So their sons automatically carry that with rare exceptions. Rare exceptions. But exceptions don't make a rule, right? Rather, exceptions prove the rule. That's what we say. So, even though we say Brahmana by work and qualities, it is also true Brahmana by birth. But if you ignore the quality dimension, the work dimension, and you simply stick to the birth dimension, then you are doing wrong. And that's what has happened in society. Because the Brahmanas were not allowed to perform their traditional duties. They were deprived of their livelihood. They were forced to come into the mainstream of social life, which they were not doing traditionally. They were forced to come into the mainstream of social life just to maintain themselves. Then they deviated from Brahminical duties because Brahminical duties, they cannot sustain themselves anymore. Then what happened? The Varna Shankara happened. They were no longer Brahmana. They were no longer Brahmana. A Brahma Bandhu and another Brahma Bandhu get married and they give birth to Brahma Bandhu. They don't automatically give birth to a Brahmana. Because by work and quality, they have deviated. So please understand that. So when we say Brahmin by birth, you should understand this is the background of that. That is why. Now you can understand why the king, the emperor was so important in those days. Can anyone say what is the importance of a king or an emperor? What is their main duty in a traditional society?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
To see that Brahmanas are protected and the cows are protected and the people do not divert from their Varnashrama Dharma, Prabhuji.
Yes, absolutely. To implement Varnashrama is the prime duty of a king. And there is in the 4th canto, I think, where Prithu Maharaj says that my rule applies to all living entities in my empire, except Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. The king considers Brahmanas and Vaishnavas as above his law, even though they are citizens of the same country. But he respects them. My law will not apply for them. This is what Prithu Maharaj says. So what kind of Brahmanas are we talking about? And what kind of Vaishnavas are we talking about? They are the lawmakers. And the king is a law implementer. King is an executive. Lawmaker is Brahmana and Vaishnava. So let us understand these basic principles. So whenever an argument comes, let us not become very confused that is it by birth or is it by work and quality? Tell me, anyone on the basis of our discussions. Would you like to say? Varna by
It's only by work. It's only by work and quality and where we fit in that it has been given, Prabhuji, Varnashrama.
Yeah. So it is also by birth.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay.
Yes. In a traditional society where the purity of Varnas is maintained by the king. The king makes sure that there is no Varna Shankara. Today people don't understand. In Ramayana, now Ram temple has come up. So there is so much discussion about Ramayana. So people who want to deviate you, they will tell things like, Ram killed one Shudra, for the simple reason he was performing tapasya. Ram killed the Shudra for performing tapasya. Now tell me, what is this? Is it not injustice? That only Brahmana should do tapasya? Why Shudra should not do tapasya? And Ram sent his wife to the forest. Can we tolerate this? Is this the way to treat a woman? Right? So these are all questions that will come. So we should learn Ramayana. We should know the philosophy of why Ram or Krishna acted in a particular way. Otherwise, we will also get confused. Or we will not know how to react when people talk like this. Why Ram did like this? He should not have done that. And Ramayana says, Ramayana was written by someone who was a hunter. Of course, later he became a sage. But by birth, he was a hunter only. Mrigari became Valmiki, highest sage. He directly meets Narada Muni, his guru. And he's asking Narada Muni this question. Is there any man like this who has all these qualities? He gives a list, something like 32 qualities. Valmiki wants to know. Then Narada Muni says, yes, there is such a man. And he lives right now. And he's today the emperor, he's Lord Ram. And then Valmiki writes the whole Ramayana. Even while Ram is alive, Ramayana is getting written by Mrigari. By birth, he was not in Varnashrama. A hunter is not in Varnashrama. He's below Varnashrama. He's not a Shudra. But he writes Ramayana. And there he writes this. What he writes? Ram killed a Shudra for performing tapasya. And you know why he killed? Rains failed. There was no rain. There was famine. People were not having food to eat. Then when the Guru told him, this is because someone is deviating from Varnashrama. And then Ram goes and kills that Shudra. After an interview, there is a small interview. And at the end of the interview, cuts his head. And then immediately rains fall. Not only rains, the devatas, they shower flowers. 2 rains fall. Rain of flowers and the rain of water, pure water. And the famine is gone. So let us understand. Society is important more than the individual. Society is more important. So there is one example, that is Ram killed a Shudra. Society is more important. Another example, Ram sent Sita to forest. That is another example. In one example, Ram is not directly affected. In another, Ram is definitely affected in terms of reputation. If people don't understand, they will cast a slur on the reputation of Lord Ram, saying, oh, he is only favoring Brahmanas. He's not kind to Sudras like that. But second example, it affects him. His own dearmost wife, only one wife. Krishna had 16,108 wives. One of them going to the forest may not be a big deal. Ram has only one wife. And after he is banished to the forest, he doesn't marry again. So directly affecting him, his dearmost, equal to his own life, more than his own life. He banishes her to the forest. Why? Same reason, society is more important. Society is more important. And how you take care of the society? By implementing the law strictly. No favor to anyone. No deviation. Whether it is the family of the emperor also, no deviation. And people will find fault with Ram for doing this. What can be done? Okay, I think now we are deviating from our subject. So we know what is now Varnashrama. We talked about Karma Yoga on the basis of Varnashrama. That's very good. Now, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, we are trying to find some linkages. So can someone say what linkages between Karma Yoga and Jnana? In Karma Yoga, we talked about Sakama Karma and Nishkamya Karma also. So where does Jnana Yoga fit in? Kalikumar Ghosh Prabhu, I am sorry, somewhere you are going to say something and I stopped.
Yeah, I was telling the same thing about Niskama Karma Yoga.
Yes.
This Niskama Karma Yoga means doing the prescribed duty without any expectation of fruits of the work.
Yeah.
And Prabhuji, Jnana Yoga is a practice of scriptural knowledge. Their purpose is to achieve a status of Brahma Jyoti. They want to get liberated to Brahma Jyoti, and they also practice meditation. Meditation and culture of knowledge. Yes.
Brahmacharya is very essential.
And they do it in a secluded place out of the society. That is also essential.
Yes, very true. So this way, from Nishkama, the fruit of Nishkama is Jnana. The fruit of Nishkama. In Nishkama, you are still attached to your duty, the Varnashrama duty. In Sakama, you want to enjoy the fruits and you are performing your duty. But at a stage comes when you are no longer interested in the fruit, but you are only attached to the duty. You are so much attached to the duty, you don't give it up. But the fruits you have given up. If you work in that fashion, you come to a time when you rise above the duty also. What duty? Varnashrama duty. That means you are getting now separated from your body. You are getting separated means the soul. You are feeling, I am different from this body. There is no more any enthusiasm or interest in enjoying the various kinds of sense gratification that come from performing your duties. So in the Nishkama fashion, if you continue to execute your duties, then you reach a stage where your soul is getting separated. Then what you do? You can give up your duties. You are allowed to give up your duties. And then you can retire into the forest and observing complete celibacy, right? Complete control of the senses and the mind. Then Krishna tells how to purify yourself in that kind of a process. But the most important thing that Krishna says is In Jnana Yoga also, he tells what is the most important jnana. In the 4th chapter, there is a extra information given that real jnana is to know me. Real jnana is to know me. I am the one who has to be known. Like I have been taking birth again and again, but I am not material. I am completely spiritual. I am transcendental. So this knowledge you have to get. And for getting this knowledge, you have to approach a guru. You have to approach a guru and you have to inquire from him submissively. So these are the things by which you get this jnana. But most important thing that in 4th chapter also Krishna will emphasize is that don't, in the name of jnana, I have become a jnani, I will no longer perform duties, because to set an example for the world, even one for whom there is no more duty to perform. Because you have realized the fruit of performing duties is to come to this level of jnana, that I am a spirit soul, I am not this body, I have nothing to do in this world. I am Satchitananda, I am Brahman. To come to that knowledge is the goal of your Nishkamya karma. You have achieved that goal, so you don't have to do your duty. But still Krishna says, for such a person, there is no difference between performing the duty and not performing the duty, because he has risen above that. Then Krishna says, but better for such a person, he will continue to engage in his duties. And Krishna explains why. Krishna says, I am performing my duties. He gives example of Janaka, how he perfected his life by performing duties. But he continues to execute the same duties. Why? To set an example to people who have not reached the stage of Nishkamya karma. You engage them in Kamya karma. You don't criticize them. You don't find fault with them. In whichever level people are placed, in that level you make them enthusiastic to perform those duties. So these are the things that we saw. So essentially, jnana is a stage of rising above karma. But still, karma is continued, because for a jnani, whether he performs his duty or not, he's indifferent to it. But because he's indifferent, he would rather do his duty than not do his duty. So that is how we understood jnana. And then Krishna glorified this situation of a jnani by saying there is nothing left for him to be done, because he has achieved what needs to be attained. And then he concluded that transcendental knowledge means the knowledge of the soul or the knowledge of Brahman. That destroys all karma, all doubts. All doubts means all ignorance is destroyed in transcendental knowledge. And such a person is factually situated in the self, and he is no longer bound by reactions of karma. That means karma is destroyed, means karmic reactions are also destroyed. And the desire to execute karma is also destroyed. This is complete destruction of karma. Unlike Christians, I'm sorry, I keep taking the name of Christians because I feel so sad how that religion has been ruined, because this parampara system is not there, this varnashrama system is not there, and everything has become commercial. So the religion has lost its true glory now. So they say your sins are forgiven. But when is a sin truly forgiven? When you no longer have a desire to perform that sin. You are no longer attracted to that sin. A drunkard who has completely given up drinking. A meat eater who has completely given up meat eating. A person who was always running after illicit sex, given up that completely. Such a person is truly forgiven from those sins. That means he is no longer having that impulse. Sinful impulse is gone. That is the symptom that you are forgiven. That means one thing, the reactions is destroyed. And also that impulse is destroyed. The impulse is itself a reaction. We have discussed in the earlier classes, You sow an action, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reach a character. You sow a character and you reap a destiny. Right? So all these things are one action leads to habit, habit to character, character to destiny. So these are all interconnected. So when your karma is destroyed means it should include the impulse to perform karma. The desire to perform a particular act, that should be destroyed. So Krishna is saying here that is completely destroyed and he is no longer bound by reactions of growth. So Krishna recommends use this weapon of knowledge. And what is this weapon of knowledge? To know Krishna. To know Krishna really who he is. And that is Tadvidya Pranipada. To know Krishna is really knowing Tattvadarshinaha, means one who has seen Krishna. And through them, you should know about Krishna. And then you should fully engage in performing your devotional service to Krishna. That way you become purified. So Prabhupada so beautifully, whether you are talking Karma Yoga or you are talking Jnana Yoga, Prabhupada beautifully blends bhakti into that. So much so that you may sometimes think, I don't see any difference between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. It's all Bhakti Yoga only. If you think that way, you are extremely fortunate. If you don't see a distinction between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, and you see everything as actually Bhakti Yoga only, you are an extremely fortunate, selected soul by Krishna. There is really nothing to distinguish between all this. Krishna, even though he talks about so many other things, ultimately he concludes, Sarvadharman Parityajya Madhyekam Sharanam. That is what Krishna came to say. And Prabhupada, being such a pure devotee of the Lord, he is simply reflecting the heart of Krishna. Prabhupada doesn't want to wait till the 18th chapter to tell you, Are Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. This is what Krishna is saying. Don't get confused by karma and jnana. Prabhupada directly from the beginning of Bhagavad Gita is giving you the message so much so that by the time you are completing one reading of Bhagavad Gita, you have seen this importance of Bhakti Yoga a million times. That is the mercy of Prabhupada. Or we are so dull-headed if we see it only in the 18th chapter that Krishna is talking so much about Bhakti Yoga. Then we will become very, very confused. Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga also, Jnana Yoga also, Ashtanga Yoga also. They have various things. Why do I say that only 18th chapter is more important than the 3rd or 4th chapter? So we are extremely fortunate in having Srila Prabhupada as our Siksha Guru for all times. Through his books, Prabhupada is speaking to us. So that way, we are extremely fortunate to be hearing and speaking from this particular book of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So let us proceed to 5th chapter, unless any of you have something to say before we proceed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Mainly in transcendental knowledge, it is mentioned about akarma and inaction in action, Prabhuji. That already everybody told, but I just want to share that.
Yeah. So Mataji, can you say something about action and inaction?
Inaction in action, I'll tell first, Prabhuji. We are doing all the duties, but we are actually not attached to any of it. We are doing it for Krishna. We are not doing for our own sense gratification. Like from that accepting prasadam, doing everything what we do, not having any connection with anything what we do. Maybe taking care of our kids, whatever we are doing, everything, just playing the role of a caretaker. Like Krishna has given us a duty of taking care of his kids. I'm just telling example, Prabhuji. I cannot philosophically tell. So I relate in that way, Prabhuji. Like whatever we are doing, maybe it in family, maybe it in work. How I see work also is like that, Prabhuji. Like when I get more work, first I used to get frustrated. So much I have to do. Now I think, okay, Krishna is giving me money. When there is less work, we work on incentive basis, Prabhuji. When less work, I think Krishna is giving me rest. So it is very easy, Prabhuji, actually. Everything totally on Krishna, Prabhuji. That is what I think. Action.
Thank you. Perfect. That's a perfect explanation. So inaction, in action. You see the best example for both these things is Arjuna and Duryodhana in the battlefield. Arjuna and Duryodhana in the battlefield. Both are fighting. In terms of the intensity with which they are fighting, at least externally, same. With the same intensity, they are fighting. Fighting to win. Same intensity externally, you don't see any distinction. But you go inside, there is a world of difference between Arjuna and Duryodhana. It is all inside. Arjuna doesn't keep on declaring to the world that I am fighting only for Krishna. He's not saying, oh, I am fighting. See, I am totally unattached. I would rather go to the forest and meditate. I am not interested in the kingdom. I don't want to kill any of my relatives, but still, for Krishna, I am fighting like that. He doesn't declare. He is externally no different from Duryodhana. He is killing and killing and killing piles of people. He is just killing them, just like Duryodhana. But Duryodhana is doing vikarma and Arjuna is doing akarma. And there are other people who are doing karma in the same battlefield. People performing same actions. But you see karma, akarma, vikarma, right? That's why Mahabharata is so very important. And the place Krishna chose to speak Bhagavad Gita is so very important. Right in the middle of a battlefield, in the thick of war. That's where Bhagavad Gita is being spoken. So we can get all the examples right there from the battlefield. Hare Krishna. So let us go to the 5th chapter. This is called Karma Sannyasa Yoga. There is a title of this. So Karma Sannyasa means what? Same, giving up duties. Giving up the duty. Karma Sannyasa. So how do you give up your duty? So that is this chapter. Let us move on. So because we want to move a little faster, we will not stop on every shloka. We'll just keep moving. Arjuna is again confused. He is confused for our sake. He is saying, what is this, Krishna? You asked me to renounce work, and then you are again saying, work with full, devotion. You perform your work. Now please tell me which is better. Work in devotion or renounce work, which is better for me? So Arjuna is asking. So the Lord is saying, both are good for liberation. Both renouncing work is also good, it will lead to liberation, or work in devotion. Work in devotion means for the pleasure of Krishna. If you work, that will also lead to the same liberation. So here the words used are sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasa karavubhau tayostu karma sannyasa karma yogo vishishyate. So the two words used here, karma yoga means performance of karma. Karma sannyas, that is renunciation of it. So these two are being compared. And Krishna says, both can give you liberation. Giving up your duty or executing your duty as a yoga. That is, both will give the same result. So then Krishna will explain here. One who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities. Whatever comes, whether the pleasant thing comes, unpleasant things come, he doesn't make any distinction. He is just performing his duty. And whatever results are coming, he's not attached to that. That means even when he's performing duty, he's renounced one. Because he doesn't care about pleasant results or unpleasant results. We heard how Arjuna was lamenting, I neither care for victory nor for losing the battle. Because in either case, I don't like the results. So Arjuna was very much attached to the results. But here, Krishna says, if you neither hate nor desire the fruit, then you are actually there. Then you are performing the work or not performing the work, you are renounced. You are performing the work, but you don't care what result will come, you are renounced. You are not performing the work, or you don't really care what will come from that work, you are also renounced. Both are renounced. Does it make sense? If you are free from the duality of liking something, not liking something, then it doesn't matter whether you execute the duty or don't execute the duty. Does it make sense? Anyone? Haribol?
Yes, Prabhuji. That is because in that stage, even if you are not supposed to do any more work, so your inaction also is immaterial. It is not important anymore.
So what is important?
That being in that equanimity state, that you don't see the difference between doing work or not doing work, or result or no result, independent of whatever may be the result. So in that stage, you have reached that level wherein even if you don't do your prescribed duty, it doesn't matter. You do the prescribed duty only to exhibit to others that yes, you're performing duty only for
Yeah.
main.
And what is it called?
For
We have, a,
example,
we have a word for that, Sanskrit word. What is that? This particular thing you said, no, for the benefit of the society, to set a good example for the society, you are doing
Yes.
something. So that's called what? Krishna uses this word in Bhagavad Gita. Loka Sangraha.
Lokasanga. Okay.
That is the only purpose. There is no selfish motive there. So it is the motive that determines. Yes, there is a motive, not the external action, but it is the motive. That's what Krishna is telling. So such a person is free from all dualities and he easily overcomes material bondage. Whether he performs his work or not performing work doesn't matter. He overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. Then Krishna says, only the ignorant people make a distinction between Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. What is Sankhya Yoga? Translation is analytical study. So can anyone explain this? Analyze this. What is this analytical study Krishna is talking about?
Prabhuji, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
it is studying the 24 elements and differentiating matter and ultimately coming to that to the soul, to understand the soul, which is separate from matter.
Correct. And how do you do it, this study?
I do not know to explain that, Prabhuji.
By mental speculation? What is this?
Sankhya,
Yes.
no idea, Prabhuji.
It is not by mental speculation. That's a point. No? There are certain prescribed criteria. There are some prescriptions. There are some prohibitions. There are some guidelines on how you have to perform this Jnana Yoga. And that means you have to follow the scriptures. You have to have your guru, right? With this and following strictly the rules and regulations, that is the way to perform Sankhya Yoga also. So Sankhya Yoga doesn't mean that you pick up a book and start casually reading, a coffee in one hand, cigarette in another hand, lying back in your sofa, and Sankhya Yoga, yes, these 24 elements, okay, these are the 24 elements, all right. So soul seems to be, it's not like that. That kind of study will give you a fat head, that's all. It will not give you jnana, and you are not considered as a Sankhya Yogi. The Sankhya Yogi means he strictly follows the rules and regulations, which is celibacy, absolutely. Starting with celibacy, control of mind and senses, starting. So Sankhya Yoga means, as very correctly what Mataji says, to analyze the world around you. Your body is part of the world around you, so you naturally analyze your body also. The world around you means the body is part of the world. So you analyze and then you segregate them into the various elements. Ultimately, you see, there is this, which is not explained in these 24 elements. And that is the soul, which is invisible, which is completely beyond the gross and subtle elements of creation. This is something totally stands out and it animates all these 24 elements. But this is outside these 24 elements. That way you come to the knowledge of Brahman. Like a movie which is...
Yeah, so Sankhya Yoga also leads to Jnana and Karma Yoga also leads to Jnana. Is that two different ways, Prabhuji?
Karma Yoga will lead you, if you do Nishkamya Karma Yoga, that will lead you to automatically Jnana Yoga. Right? Because Nishkamya Karma will automatically leads to the separation of the soul from the body. And that is the purpose of the Jnana Yoga also. The purpose of Jnana Yoga is also that you realize the self. And that self is Brahman. You realize that self and you enjoy in that true self. Now because we are externalized, we are enjoying through our senses and our physical body. But through this Sankhya, you arrive at a point that you reject everything external to you and you are focused on the self and you experience the Ananda of that self. So that is the result of Sankhya, and that is the result of Karma Yoga also. The goal of Karma Yoga is that Sankhya, and that Prabhupada will explain it so beautifully in the coming shlokas. Prabhupada would say, in fact, in the very shloka, in the purport, Prabhupada will talk about how Sankhya Yogis, after many lifetimes of analysis like this, they come to the conclusion, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samahatma Sudurlava. They come to the point that, oh, everything is ultimately Vasudeva. That means they come to the point that here is a personality behind all this. But Bhakti Yogi is directly serving that personality. That means you come to arrive at the root after a long study of Sankhya. But the Bhakta is already watering that root and is nourishing the tree. So Sankhya Yoga, the end of it, will lead you to this point that, oh, Vasudeva is the root. That means I have to serve Vasudeva. Like saying, oh, I have to water the root of the tree. The whole tree's nourishment is coming from the root only. Then what I have to do? I have to water the root. Same way, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The entire creation is Vasudeva only. That means I have to only serve Vasudeva. That is what you reach by Sankhya. And the devotee, under the guidance of the spiritual master, by virtue of his Shraddha, in the guidance of sadhus, he is performing bhajana kriya and he is directly serving Krishna. So that is why the results of all the yogas you directly get in performing bhakti yoga. What the other yogas are considered as ladder steps leading to something, you are directly going to the end. That's why Prabhupada will say, this is the elevator path, bhakti yoga. But other yogas are like a spiral staircase. You keep climbing, climbing, climbing. One level up, one level up, one level up. Like that. There, the starting would be Sakama Karma. Next would be Nishkamya Karma. Then that will lead you to Jnana Yoga. And then it will lead you to Jnana Sannyasa, at which stage you will come to liberation. Jnana Yoga is automatically not liberation. Jnana Yoga leads you to a point where you give up that Jnana also. That slight explanation, let me give it now. It's important for me to share this. Any yoga, if it is not blended with some bhakti, doesn't give results. Any yoga, whether it is Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, if along with that, if you are not doing some bhakti, that yoga will not give result. Shrama eva kevalam. It is only unnecessary labor. The fruit will not come. So for any yoga to give results, you have to perform bhakti also along with that. Then what will happen? Karma Yoga will take you to Nishkamya Karma Yoga. And Nishkamya Karma Yoga will take you to Jnana Yoga automatically. And Jnana Yoga will take you to liberation. Now, at this point, I will explain a little more. Jnana Yoga, at the final maturity of Jnana Yoga, you come to the stage of Jnana Sannyasa. That means you give up that Jnana process also. But you don't give up one thing. What is that one thing you don't give up? At the time of Jnana Sannyasa, you have already given up karma and you have come to Jnana. And now you are giving up Jnana, but you are not giving up something. What is that something?
Ananya Bhakti, Prabhuji.
Exactly. It is not to be given up. He has to perform the bhakti, but he has to give up Jnana. So bhakti is never to be given up. But by doing this bhakti, he will not get prema. He will get liberation in Brahman. Because that is what the Jnani wanted. So even though he has to perform bhakti continuously, but he is doing along with karma and Jnana, eventually he will do karma sannyasa, but he will hold on to his bhakti and then he will attain liberation in the Brahman. That is what the process is. That is called Jnana Sannyasa. And that's what now we are talking about. Is there any doubt that any path of yoga, if bhakti is not blended with it, it will not give fruit. Bhakti means to Krishna only. We are not talking about demigod bhakti and all. Demigod bhakti will fall under what?
Karmakanda, Prabhu.
Rooted.
Karma.
Exactly.
Exactly. So only service to Krishna, that's called bhakti, and that he has to continue to get his liberation. Otherwise, he won't get liberation also. So any ladder, karma ladder, any yoga ladder you perform, you need to do bhakti along with that, and that bhakti should never be given up. This is called Mishra Bhakti. Mishra Bhakti, right? Or it's also called Gunibhuti, Gunibhuta Bhakti, right? It's blended, it's not pure bhakti. But if you want Krishna praying, you should do pure bhakti or kevala bhakti. It should be anya abhilashita sunya jnana karmadi anavruta bhakti. That will give you Krishna praying. So doing bhakti alone is the highest process. But any other process also, they will give inferior results. But even to get that inferior result, you must do bhakti. Is it clear or is there any doubt?
Clear, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So bhakti with other processes and bhakti alone. Between the two, bhakti alone is superior. Bhakti with other processes is not superior. Jnana karmadi anavruta bhakti is superior. But when it comes to karma or jnana, then it has to be essentially done along with bhakti. Otherwise, it doesn't give fruits. Doesn't give fruits. Vinay Sanatan Das Prabhu is giving this amazing quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Atma Indriya Pritivancha Dore Kama Naam. Krishna Indriya Pritivancha Dore Prema Naam. This is the difference. If I want to satisfy my own senses, that's called Kam. I want to satisfy my own senses. But if you want to satisfy the senses of Krishna, that is called Prema. So, what we call lust or Kama is simply perverted form. The Prema you experience when you identify who am I really and who is Krishna and what is our relationship. Then you experience Prema. But if you turn away from Krishna, then material energy takes control and you experience Kama. You want to satisfy your own senses. But Krishna's senses, if you want to satisfy, it's called Prema. And what is the difference between the self and Krishna? Vinay Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu, I cannot explain, Prabhu. That's only some writing quotes only, Prabhu. It's very difficult for me for some explain English. What is the question, Prabhu?
Prabhu?
What is the question?
I was asking, Atma Indriya Priti, Krishna Indriya Priti, we were talking about it. What is the difference between Atma and Krishna?
Oh, it's not because Atma means we are the part of Lord Krishna. Or then Krishna means he is super soul, no? Or
Yeah.
only three Paramatma. One is actually not only one Paramatma. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, there mentions three Paramatma also have. Three super soul. One is Karanadakshay Vishnu, one is Shridakshay Vishnu, and another is Garbhadakshay Vishnu. Shridakshay Vishnu means he is all jiva inside in soul. This Shridakshay Vishnu. Karanadakshay means he is creative, all everything is inside. This means super soul. And Garbhadakshay Vishnu means all Brahmanda.
Yeah.
Three super soul.
It's the same person.
Same person, but different their activity, you know.
We say Mahavishnu is the soul of all material creation. Then Garbhodakasai Vishnu is the soul of the universe. And our Kshirodakasai Vishnu is the soul of each living entity.
Yes, Prabhu, that's.
Yeah, ultimately it is the same person, but he is within every atom, he is within every soul. We call him Kshirodakasai Vishnu.
Shridakshay Vishnu.
Yeah, so from the skill 4 of Mahavishnu, the whole lot of universes come, and then he enters into them in the form of Garbhodakasai Vishnu. And then he creates all the material elements and sets everything into action. Then, as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, he further enters into each and every atom. Yeah. So because he's in every atom, it's very, very interesting to think that we say the Paramatma goes with you. You know, we always explain when you die, Paramatma carries you from one body to another body, right? But if you think about it, Paramatma doesn't have to carry you from one body to another body because Paramatma is everywhere. You cannot move anywhere without Paramatma being there. So even though we say Paramatma goes with you from one body to another body, actually Paramatma is everywhere. So you are never separated from Paramatma. He is so anxious that for a moment also, he doesn't want to leave you. So thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Prabhu, last maybe before you explain some Brahmanical, Brahma qualities, can I explain some quote?
Yeah.
Prabhu, now has a problem in Brahmana family in our society. In today's society, some stupid people says that if you are born in Brahmana parivar, Brahmana house, you called Brahmana. But Shastra is not tell. He also explained the Brahma Bandhu Dijabandhu. But Brahmana means Janman, there had once look, no? Janmana Jaite Shudra, Sanskara Dija Ussate, Veda Bada Pate Patra, Veda Vipra, Brahma Jnanati, Brahmana. Means everybody try to he knows to any Brahma Gyan, he will be Brahmana, no problem that one.
Yeah,
It's
Brahma Janati.
karma different.
The word
Brahma
Brahma,
Jnanati, Brahmana.
the Brahman here means supreme absolute truth. So one who knows supreme absolute truth is only called a Brahman. He simply Veda Pada Pate Vipra. He knows the Vedas, but he doesn't know what is the goal of the Vedas, what is the purpose of the Vedas. Then he is only called Vipra. He becomes Brahmana by really knowing the supreme absolute truth. So Janmana Jayate Shudra is very true. The point is, if strictly we are following Varnashrama system, then automatically a Brahmin family will be Brahmanas only, by birth only. By birth, because automatically the samskaras will be done for them. They will be doing Veda Pata study along with other Brahmanas, and they will come to know Brahman. So the birth in a Brahmin family becomes an advantage. And that is very good for the society also, because a Brahmana will never compete with others. Rather, Brahmana will guide and help others selflessly. So what is the problem in maintaining the purity of a Brahmana race? It's very good. Because, see, imagine when somebody dies, he has certain quality in him. So he is going to take birth in a similar family where such qualities are there. So when a Brahmana dies, he will naturally take birth in a Brahminical family. And in that process, a lot of time and energy is saved for him. If a Brahmana soul has to take birth in a Varna Shankara family, so much is lost, you see. There is no facility for him to develop his Brahminical qualities because he is born in the wrong place. Because he is in a Varnashrama system, Varna Shankara system. He has to do occupation which is not suitable to him. Whereas if purity is there, a Brahmana has to do only Brahminical duties. So it is very good for the whole society. But unfortunately, today we have systematically destroyed the Varnashrama system. So today, you cannot call anybody Brahmin by birth. It is no longer true. But we should not say always it was like that. Krishna created a system by which, on the basis of work and quality, somebody is called a particular Varna. But automatically, in a particular Varna family, children will be naturally having those qualities. That is the advantage of Varnashrama system. The whole society benefits by maintaining purity of the Varnashrama. Is it okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Because Prabhu, there's Chaitanya Bhagavata one slow, but I cannot remember now. Maybe the 16th chapter 303, maybe slok that one. And there mentions this Brahmana opi kama dupate shudra, means a person who engages action in his own sensual means desire, sense gratification only for whom? Own. They are only Shudra, not only for Shudra, Shudradam, the lowest among the Shudras. Means Murk,
Yeah.
fool man, that one. Because you cannot Dijabandhu, Brahma Bandhu,
No, the point they
because
are making.
whatever he doing, they are only sense gratification. Not only for Krishna, not only for the society.
You know why they are saying it is, you got a Brahmin birth. You got such a superior birth. Everybody is not having a Brahmin birth, but you got a Brahmin birth. But you are still doing sense gratification. See, a Shudra doing sense gratification is acceptable. But a Brahmana doing sense gratification, you are wasting such a precious birth. That is the message, that they are giving. He is even worse than a Shudra because he has been given such an advantage. A Shudra born in a Shudra family, he behaves like a Shudra, it is okay. But you took birth in an exalted Brahmin family. But if you are still engaging in sense gratification like an animal, then you are worse than a Shudra. That is the message, no? Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol. I think I have to wind up here. We will go to Prabhupada Lilamrit. So today we have done 3 shlokas. Okay. Next we will do from 4th shloka onwards. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Let me switch over to, just give me a couple of minutes. You can sing Hare Krishna and I will.
Hare Krishna.